But first, we begin with the epidemic of guns in America and the problem of illegal gun sales happening at gun shows across the U.S. of A. Thanks to a long-standing loophole in the law, pressure from pro-gun groups like the NRA, and the cowardice of lawmakers to take any kind of a principled stand, laws that normally apply to gun sales often do not apply to gun shows. So, the mayor of New York, he's taking an unusual step to try and fight back. And for more, I want to bring in Andrew Whitman.
Well, Rich, New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg sent undercover investigators inside 7 gun shows to show how little regulation goes on at these floating firearms flea markets and to see if the show's individual sellers were sidestepping the law. But what made the investigation even more unusual is that none of those gun shows were in New York. That's not the point, the mayor says, because many of those guns sold illegally will end up on the streets of the Big Apple and quite possibly in the middle of a gun crime.
You just have to see your ID and you have to be a resident.
So no background checks, right? No. Good, because I probably couldn't pass one.
Well, why would you do that? Have you been bad?
Have I been bad? I'd rather not go there. You take, what did you say, $480
cash money.
What you just watched is a crime. A dealer at a gun show who's under no obligation to run a background check on a potential buyer finds out that that buyer couldn't pass one. But he sells the gun anyway, and that is against the law. Sadly, it was not an isolated incident.
Just have to be a Ohio resident.
Right. Well, good, because I probably couldn't pass one.
I don't think I could either.
That's good about the background check, because I probably couldn't pass one.
I don't care.
Huh?
All I got to do is demand you show me your license.
Our investigators attempted 33 buys from 30 private sellers. And after hearing that the buyer probably couldn't pass a background check, they still made the sale 22 times.
So the conclusion of the mayor's office?
It only stands to reason that criminals and traffickers will go to those gun shows where they can get guns without detection. It's a central marketplace for illegal guns.
The mayor's undercover investigation found another kind of illegal gun sale as well. The so-called straw purchase, when someone buys a gun for someone else because they could not or would not put their names on the form. The gun sale equivalent of a teenager getting an adult to buy beer for them.
It's exactly the same thing. Buy beer, buy cigarettes, exactly the same thing. Now, unfortunately, 94% of the dealers that we approached completed a straw sale.
And they know, this is something that they know to look at.
This is textbook.
My friend over here do some paperwork here for me. Okay. She, have a seat here and help me out.
How you doing, man?
Yeah.
And that is the gun show loophole in action. Sales that run afoul of the law made possible or made easier because they happen at gun shows and not at gun stores. And if you need any proof of the danger that gun show guns present, just think back to Columbine 10 years ago. All the weapons used by the shooters came from gun shows. What's more, federal statistics show 30% of guns snagged in illegal trafficking cases are connected to gun shows. But as for the specific number or percentage of crimes and shootings connected to private and gun show sales...
Well, that's the problem. Nobody knows because there's no paperwork. This is a gun sale from a private seller essentially goes up in smoke. They don't need to take your name. They don't need to fill out any paperwork. It can't be traced. And so it becomes invisible.
Just another problem for those looking to reduce gun violence, and another reason Mayor Bloomberg has been so persistent in his anti-gun efforts. He founded the group Mayors Against Illegal Guns, which last year put out this PSA to pressure the presidential candidates into taking gun control action.
All 3 candidates said they oppose the gun show loophole,
which allows criminals to buy guns illegally
And murder innocent Americans.
A group that now has more than 450 mayoral members, including the heads of all the biggest cities in our region, all looking to allow local gun control, all looking to pressure Washington into doing more, and all looking to stem the influence of groups like the NRA, which may explain why some on the right are pushing back against the group and against Bloomberg. Like Zach Wamp, a Republican candidate for governor of Tennessee, one of the states that hosted a gun show investigated by Bloomberg's team. His reaction on Twitter, Bloomberg and his anti-gun cronies should stay the heck out of Tennessee. or this bizarre and somewhat insulting ad by the NRA in support of the Republican running for governor of Virginia.
Listen to me. When you vote, I strongly suggest you forget about your freedoms and your Mr. Second Amendment Bob McDonnell. I want you to do it for New York, if you know what's good for you.
And despite fears from pro-gun camps and the political right that the Obama administration would work to roll back gun access, any objective view would have to conclude that the opposite has been true. From guns in bars to guns in national parks and measures to allow concealed weapons in more places, even guns on Amtrak trains. Most of the recent political fights on guns have been to expand gun ownership and usage and not restrict it. Still, record gun sales and record sales of ammunition have been reported since the political rise of Barack Obama last year. Rich?
The Supreme Court's going to have a lot to say about this in this session, right?
And the case, which is based out of Chicago, could reduce a municipality's ability to restrict gun ownership or gun usage within the city's confines. It's a Chicago-based case, but it would impact New York City, Philadelphia, Newark, and other cities that have looked to restrict how many guns you can own in your home.
And the reason we showed all those pictures of the mayors in your piece there from all different of the larger urban areas, the reason why they're all, and they're not all, by the way, Democrats, the reason why they're all opposed to these illegal guns is at that same gun show, and I'm not saying the one that the folks from New York went and profiled down there, but at these gun shows, somebody will buy 10, 15, 20 guns, it's called straw sale, walk out, turn around and sell it for in a nice little tidy profit to some guy, some creep, who's going to put it in the back of his trunk here and drive back to New York and sell them on the streets of New York. And obviously, by definition, that's illegal.
Sometimes it's not even that hidden, Rich. The spokesman for the mayor that we spoke with on this piece said his investigator saw gang members wearing gang paraphernalia coming from inner city areas, going to these gun shows. They know where to get the guns without necessarily having to go through the background checks or the other things that should keep them from having them because of their past affiliations or past crimes.
And if I can opine for a minute, I don't think our founding fathers had in mind just that here at these gun shows.
I don't think that's the militia they were referring to.
No.